All right, then. Oh. You know, the boss we're going to be discussing right now, my friends, is possibly the most feared boss in the entire game. The ominous music playing is appropriate for the terror that is instilled by Largos. Largos, the Largos twins, is the ultimate IQ check. This is where big gamers are made and noobs are exposed. Okay? 2 bosses. Not allowed to stack in a big old group of 10. You're going to have to actually spread out a little bit here. As you can see, as you'll soon see here, there will be 2 bosses, each with their own set of mechanics. And those mechanics are going to be devastating and deadly if executed incorrectly. First of all, we aren't starting here, because starting here is going to be nice. You'll see these little watery things, okay, about the place. These will launch you up back onto the platform should you fall off. Like, in theory, you won't really need to use them that much, except for when moving between bosses, but it is worth noting that, don't worry, if you get knocked off the platform, it isn't the end for you. There is a way to recover. So, boss number 1 here, Nakare. This guy is a bit of a beast. He does a lot of damage, so face him away from the group. He'll do a bubble attack where he'll like cross his swords, right, slash his swords, and then everyone underneath him will get a little bubble. If you get hit by it, you get lifted into the air there as well, and basically stunned. You can stun break that, by the way. And this is actually where taking the Firebrand Elite Mantra is actually quite powerful, because you can break other people out of this if done correctly. Quite a powerful thing indeed. Not bad whatsoever. Okay? However, his most deadly attack is actually a combo with that ability. It is his charge. He will charge periodically. Okay? He will basically charge at the furthest person away, right? And then the furthest person again, and then back to the tank, right? After that time. If you get hit, you take a lot of damage, and you get slowed and also chilled. You really don't want to get hit by that, right? Like, it does a lot of damage, and if you get bubbled, you can't dodge it. Yeah, that's actually a good point there. Like, having a Tempest hit, like a Heal Ellie, if you run, like, you know, a Heal Ellie for Nakari, really good, because Heal Ellie can use Eye of the Storm to actually stun break everyone in the group out of the bubble all at the same time. Very, very, very powerful stuff there indeed. It's excellent, okay, to actually stun break people out of that, if you do indeed have that. So yeah, don't get hit by the bubbles, don't get hit by the charge. Very, very, very bad indeed. And the final 2 abilities he has big bubbles. They knock you back and do damage. Don't get hit by the big bubbles. There will be 2 of them, so you can block if you have 1. Okay, but be aware that if you're in both, and they can sometimes like overlap a lot, Aegis won't save you. Because, of course, they'll both hit you, removing the edges, and the second one will knock you. So try and dodge the big bubbles there, if at all possible. His final mechanic is that random players will get a tidal pool on them. This tidal pool will, after a short delay, or when you jump off the platform, will spawn on a player, and spawn an expanding pool. You want to place this in the opposite direction you're going to be moving. As you can see, we're going to be moving through the room. We're going to have to fight the bosses on different platforms here over time. So place it at the back of the platform, essentially. And don't downstay in it. So be careful. Don't, like, stack them up too much. You don't need to do that. They expand, but it won't cover too much of the platform. And if you have any kind of reasonable DPS, it won't take too long, so the platform will be still relatively safe no matter what. So don't worry about that too much. Now, this is a great time to talk about a kind of overarching mechanic here called Waterlogged, right? So whenever you get hit by like a water-themed mechanic, you get a stack of Waterlogged. This causes you to take ticking damage, your screen look all scary, and then at 10 stacks, you die instantly, right? So you can see that, oh no, the Largos sees that I'm weak. Oh no, you've got to get to dry land. Ah! And a fair few mechanics in this fight, and some other ones that we'll talk about a little bit later, will actually give you this mechanic. So that the tidal pools will, being in the water will, and of course now we have to talk about the next boss as well. So when you've got Nakari to 50%, he'll disappear, and Canute will come out, who is a slightly easier boss actually, but still very, very formidable. First of all, there will be tornadoes on the platform. These give you waterlogged, they do a lot of damage, and they give chill and slow. They are blockable, so your chrono tank can kind of chill in the middle of the arena. You want to chill in the middle so you've got as much space to maneuver, right? It makes it much easier to kind of handle. Canute, tank in the middle, use blocks, use a little bit of WASD to avoid the tornadoes. You'll be good to go. The boss does some pointless AoE torment damage. Doesn't matter. Just tank that. It's irrelevant. And then the real important skill here is going to be the teleport. Canute will periodically go invisible, teleport to the furthest player away, and do BAM! Hit that boss with a Boon Rip. It will hit all of you with a Boon Rip attack in a rectangular AoE. Do not get hit by this. What a lot of groups will do, they'll have their druid kind of go out to range to bait this attack out, so no one has to dodge, but you should know how to dodge it as well, right? If the boss gets boons, rip them as quick as possible, job done. Canute's final attack is also quite deadly. She'll send out an orange precursor, like an orange warning ring, and then a shockwave will appear. You can jump this. You can also evade it, right? All that kind of good stuff. So make sure you do that. Otherwise, the boss will get protection and knock you back, potentially knocking you again into tornadoes and killing you. Not good at all. Right? Once you get Canute to 50%, the real fun begins. You'll have to split into 2 groups. Typically, group 2 will go left, or group 1 will go left. Group 3 will go right. The left-hand side group will be dealing with Nakare, and the right-hand side group will be dealing with Canute. Nothing actually changes here, except the boss will now get a break bar where they're invulnerable until you break it and will fire out loads of little projectiles. The mechanics are identical, right? And then once you get to 25% this time, you go on to the final platforms. Again, it's identical. You get break bars, charges, bubbles, right? You know, like shockwaves, boon rip thingy. All that is identical, except you get a stacking debuff that slowly makes you do more, makes you take more damage, essentially, as well. During the break bar, it's worth noting that you really want to break this bar fast, as the break bar causes the boss to kind of pelt the other platform, your other team, basically with AoEs too. So if you don't do that, your other team will be taking damage. So don't slack on the CC, break it. It's not the biggest break bar in the universe, but it is relevant. That's basically it for Largos, guys. Here we go. Let's make this happen, guys. Enable, okay, the bosses here and get the job done. It's a bit of a tricky one, right? This one, it might take you a few tries to get it down there as well, because a lot of the mechanics can be quite punishing, particularly for new players. But just bring out the cheese. We've got Mirages here. If you really want to break out the cheese, Scourges here are amazing. Mirage is obviously god tier because the bosses attack very, very quickly, which obviously makes things nice and easy. But don't be afraid to break out the green class, and you are going to get it done, okay? You are going to destroy. Believe me, you will. So as we go here, guys, what you're going to see is that the boss is going to very quickly start charging. So now we have bubbles. These are blockable too, and there's the charge. So here we go. It looks like I am actually tanking. So the boss will now come back to me. Okay, and there we go. The boss is on me. Those are the big bubbles, so try to avoid those. Once again, they can simply be blocked, distorted, all that kind of good stuff. So now we just want to keep it very, very chill and nuke the boss as hard as we can. Here are the bubbles again. There we are. Good. We actually survived the bubbles there. Keep getting the block. Here we go. Now it's the charge and the big bubbles. Don't get hit. The boss will now come back to me. There we go. We can lure the boss back to around the center so people have room to maneuver, and then turn the boss around here. Here we go. Okay, we just avoid the big bubbles there again. Let's keep DPSing. Keep the damage going very, very strongly here. There's going to be bubbles. We can just sidestep out of that. Keep the boss not moving as much as possible there. And there you go. We are now done. We're going to be moving on to pretty much the next phase. There we go. The boss is now phased. Bad title pool though. Bad. Greedy DPS. Greedy 8 DPS. Don't worry about that. That's all good. Not a problem. So now here we are. We arrive at Canute. Those are the tornadoes. These are once again blockable. So again, you can see that I can just tank this and keep the boss not moving there by doing that. The chill's a bit long. There's our druid doing the kiting strategy there, as you can see. And we just want to kind of jiggle shockwave. We jump. You can see that orange. You can see that orange warning wave right there. I'm actually going to save continuum split here. It's kind of like a mesmer thing because I want it for when we go our separate ways, essentially. Kind of jiggle the boss here a little bit just to keep things going nice and smoothly. There we go. There's the stealth attack once again. So we get that going. Good, 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 good. Survive this. Again, I can just tank this because I am very tanky and I have lots of invulns and stuff like that. And we're going to get the phase. So group 2, my group, we're going to go ahead and go to the left-hand side here and go and do Nakari again. And everyone else is going off to Canute. So once again, you will need 2 players who can tank this. You want 2 players who have the capability to tank. So be aware of that. You do need that. If you don't have that, oh, I actually just got a bubble there because I was not paying attention. There you go. This is what happens when you get a bubble, guys. It's not a pretty sight. It really isn't. Okay. So now, just keep on going there, and now it's the break bar. So we just go ahead and CC. There it is, and now the fight's back. The fight is now back. Here we are. And good stuff, team. Here we are. Watch the bubbles here. As you can see, mechanically, the fight is just identical. Keep doing the same thing. Block the bubbles here. Keep the boss in the same place. We push to 25%, and we're good to go. So there's going to be charges. Boss is going to charge me, and then boom, here we go. We're going to get the phase very, very shortly. Any second now, guys. A few players did get knocked off, but you can see that they'll just go inside the little water funnels there, and they'll be back up into play. So, at sometimes, the one thing that is a little bit scary that I didn't mention, but I will mention now, actually, is that if you have one die before the other, because of course now we're going to go to our final platform and just go ahead and kill the boss here, what will happen is that the other will enrage. Typically, Canute will be a bit faster because the mechanics are a little bit easier, so you kind of have to be aware of that, but it's really not too bad. Okay, it is not too bad indeed. So now we're on our final platform here. Nice, I got CC'd. Feels bad. How irritating. How annoying. But it's the same mechanics. Nothing has changed, right? And then after one boss is dead, people can just come over and help, right? They can do this to make things easier. So now Canute is dead, so Nakara's going to enrage. You actually don't want to do this. In general, you want to be a little bit careful with this, because enrage, this boss is extremely dangerous. The charge is going to absolutely destroy you, so you want to be really careful about that. But it's okay if you have a few percentage of enrage. But yeah, everything here is going to one-shot you, so just don't do that. And then boom, get the job done, and there you go. Done, 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 done. Simple as that. It is over, guys. The boss has been taken out, and we move onwards to Qadim. A few tips there. If you know, these ones here, these little water funnels here, what you can go ahead and do is cross over to the other side. So you can cross over to the other side like this. So if one is really ahead of the other, if one Largos is ahead of the other, then you need to cross over. There is a pretty strict DPS check on this. You have 2 minutes basically to deal with each platform, otherwise you instantly die. That, as long as you're pressing your buttons, it won't be super relevant, but it's not like that. It's not like an enrage. It is you instantly die, right? Like, you know, you are dead. If you run out of time on these platforms, you go over your 2-minute quota, it is over for you. The real tough things here, okay? The real tough things here are really come down to failing the losing a player, right? If you lose a player, because you're in groups of 5, it's obviously significantly worse. If you do end up losing a player in Largos, it is terrifying stuff. Terrifying, terrifying gaming indeed.